The girl shoots.
So the driver's door's open.
You're seeing the girl shoot?
Can I help you?
I have appointment at 3.
I think, is it this house?
Yes, I'm so sorry.
Okay.
So you see the girl doing the shooting?
I see what appears to be the girl standing here and shooting into the car. That's what it looked like to me. But it was dark, and
So one of the most important witnesses, or should be, because it's the only eyewitness that's not in the car, even though I personally think the main important witness should have been the driver. He's the only sober one. However, he goes ghost. But the witness states that day the girls did the shooting. Now, for everybody who's saying it's only idiots that believe Tory should be free, we've seen people beat shit on technicalities. I've always said my stance on this case has never been that Tory is innocent of everything, because technically Tory would be guilty in my synopsis in my theory based on him touching the gun. Right? Because how the law works, yes, you were wrestling away the gun, but if you ever had possession of the gun, that's still gun possession. Right? He's not supposed to touch the gun. So I've always said when it came to the case, if the main part about the case is not about him having a gun, it's whether he fired the bullet, I've said there's been a lot of reasonable doubt. Now here's the thing. The people who, are bloviating over the fact that he got found guilty, they don't want to talk about reasonable doubt anymore. If we talk about one of the most popular ideas of reasonable doubt, it would be that if the glove don't fit, you must acquit. Y'all claim that this motherfucker did the killing and he wore this particular type glove that you found bloodstained or whatever the case is. Let's see if this guy could fit the glove, which would probably mean he could have worn it. It can't fit. Well, y'all know what y'all should do. It's more than likely he didn't wear this glove. If the story goes that he wore the glove, you must acquit him. Well, if the story goes that Tory shot the woman, but the main key witness on the scene at the time says, not seen the girl shoot, is that not reasonable doubt? Interesting. Okay. I'm not here to necessarily go back and forth. I'm just trying to get all of that. Okay. So the point what I got into that to say is that the LA police did sloppy work. Okay. If they were interested in pursuing charges of aggravated assault on anybody that night, I particularly think they should have not only got the contact info, which they did, of Sean Kelly, but they should have brought him down to the precinct, and they should have gotten another official on-the-record statement with his mind and his memory collected that morning that they could either use for a potential charge or not. Why am I saying that? Because Sean Kelly later on seemed a little bit confused about what he saw after his memory was jogged. Now, if it happened in 2020, prosecutors are trying to prep him, or, they kind of meet with him like late 2021 going into 2022 for the trial that happens in 2022. When they now start to describe, hey, are you sure you saw it was a girl shooting? There's a guy, he's built like a woman. He's short, he's tiny, he's petite. Sorry, Tory, but that's kind of how they described you, bro. That's how they described it. Are you sure it was a guy? I saw the little one. they're going to make a lot of references. Well, I don't think they show on the side. They make a lot of references that instead of a man versus a woman, what they saw was someone that wasn't as tall. It kind of absolved, number one, Meg, who's the victim, and the driver, who's clearly bigger, who's also security, who's bigger than Tory. They're absolved, and it leaves Kelsey and Tory. They continue to probe Sean Kelly to say, well, how'd you say that one shot if they were just fighting? And by the time he gets back on the stand during the trial, he's basically saying, I guess Tory? He doesn't know. He doesn't know. What's not taken into consideration is that what he said the night his memory was the most clear. They should have brought him into the station the next day, let him sit down. Yo, he's getting asked, hey, am I on the right street? Like, he's distracted. Where's my son? Where's my son? He's all over the place. He's telling a story. Yes, the story is pretty much saying Tory ain't do it. But that basically gets washed away because his memory says something different else later. Now is this reasonable doubt to you? If something happens that night, you get asked about it an hour later, you say A, you get asked about it a year and a half after, you say B, which one do you believe? Whatever. Let's get through Vlad's tweet. So that's why I said shoddy police work, and I don't think they're on Jay-Z's payroll, but it's the reason why A$AP Rocky never went to jail. And I think it's probably part of the reason. Well, I'm not saying it's part of the reason. Actually, it's the shocking reason why people think, why did Tory go to jail? Because the police work that night and during this whole thing did not actually reflect police work you would think that would send him to jail. Nevertheless, he was sent to jail. Or actually charges were brought up, right? Because, people would say, well, the police didn't do this. This is what we have. The prosecutor did a lot of legwork here, include interrogating Kelsey later on. So the prosecutor brought in Kelsey. The prosecutor met supposedly with Sean Kelly. The prosecutors were the detectives at this point. Why was the prosecutor, like in any case, the prosecutor don't do detective work. Detectives bring a case to the prosecutor. Why was the prosecutor so gun-bound or, gun-ho about pushing this through? Were they influenced by maybe an entity who supposedly came to them with their supposed victim saying, hey, listen, you need to press charges. We have her ready to say that she was shot. Press these fucking charges. So now you have the prosecution arm who's now acting like a detective because all the people who said A when the LAPD talked to them, they're now down to say, oh, maybe I don't remember anymore. Or actually, let me think. Interesting. The Mexican guy who stabbed Tory, who do you think paid him to do it? You already know the answer to that. Now, I'm going to be honest with you. I really don't think somebody sent that guy to stab Tory. I do believe that the people in question would have no problem if Tory was dead. Respectfully. I'm not going to say one means the other happened. I'm just saying, I don't believe that they sent people, but I don't think they care if he died anyway. I think they had if he dies approach. The 3 Supreme Court judges who denied Tory's appeal are all paid off by the Rock Mafia. Now, what's a little bit disingenuous by Vlad saying, oh, okay, like, no one, I don't think they're paid off. What I do believe is that Tory's case was completely fucked. I believe months before he's to go to trial, his legal team drops out, who then put out a documentary that's called Reasonable Doubt. Every episode names after Jay-Z songs. Okay? What people don't realize about appeals is that appeal is not to say whether you're guilty or you're innocent. That was a trial. The appeal is only the appellate courts, right? That, not necessarily Second Circuit. It's actually called, what's it called? In appellate courts, Los Angeles. Let's see. The appellate courts it's Superior Court. Yeah. So Superior Court is where the It's District Court of Appeal. My bad. Okay. Cool. Okay, so it's these three. Okay. Their job is not to say whether Tory's guilty or innocent. Their job is only to say if the rules of engagement, and they do make rules of engagement when you go to trial. These are the pretrial hearings. These are, the instructions. Then there's just procedurally some court rules and trial rules that, protect people's rights. Appeals really don't tell if you're guilty or innocent. Appeals say if there's anything that clearly, like, the thing that they call, what's the name of that appeal? Fuck. I'm like missing it. Tory filed 2 appeals. What's it called? Let me see. Oh, the habeas corpus. Habeas corpus says I'm being held or restricted from one of my, rights unfairly. Which means if they claim that you shot somebody, right, and say this was like in the 1990s, there was no surveillance tape. Somebody turns in a surveillance tape, it's not deep fake and nothing like that. You can file a habeas corpus appeal and say that based on this new information, your conviction of shooting someone is unfair. An appellate court will look at it if you really have a videotape. And this was, I remember Tory's team or somebody was floating around, or maybe Whack 100 said there was a videotape of it happening. If there was a videotape, the habeas corpus would succeed, right? So essentially, if they say you did something and you didn't do it, you could always file this. And if what you have, the new information, is so damning, you will be freed. That's the premise of it. It's a Hail Mary because usually these things come out during a trial. Secondly, if your, constitutional rights have been violated and your freedom has been taken without, your freedoms being instated, which is a right to a fair and speedy trial, a right to whatever, habeas corpus could help there. Tory was denied that, right? When I mean denied, like his, he appealed and it got denied. So that was one of the ways he could have got out. The second way was he appealed for a new trial. Now, a lot of people get off on the new trial thing, even though, as Vlad said, it's really 2%. But the reason why they get off is that sometimes if an appeal says you need to go try this guy over again and charge him over again, it basically, these prosecution offices, DAs, like, they don't want to keep wasting money. They're like, if we're going to have a hung jury or something like that, or we're going to have to go do this again and go through another process. Victims have moved on. Some of the people have died who are witnesses. We're not going to do it again. But in important cases, they will do it again. Like, for example, YNW Melly. That wasn't, a successful appeal necessarily. It was a hung jury. And they're saying, we're doing it again. So who knows if they would have did Tory's trial again, but he would have probably got out on bail, this and third. But that was the second appeal. And that appeal is not if he's innocent or not. The appeal is if the case was a fair case and his legal rights during the case and how the case should have went violated, the Constitution or his constitutional rights. Essentially, appeals don't tell you if somebody did it or not. I mean, it technically can, but usually don't. And the idea that, because he failed his appeal, that means he definitely did it. No. All they affirmed is basically that the trial, in their eyes, was fair. That's what they affirmed. Now, you could make the assumption that, well, if it's fair and the verdict says he did it, he did it. But Tory has claimed otherwise, that, hey, not only did I not do it, but he's still sticking to the idea that his trial was fucked up by all type of stuff, right? Anyway. Jay paid Trump not to pardon Tory. That's stupid. We don't even got to talk about that. Like, come on. Trump pardoned federal cases. He can't pardon a state case. Do I think that this will be possibly within, his wheelhouse or he would think about it? Possibly. But he can't pardon a state case. Now, could he have influence on governor to pardon a state case? Absolutely can. But why would he? Or why would he when him and Gavin Newsom don't get along? Gavin Newsom supposedly is one of the leading candidates to be the next president or presidential candidates for the Democratic Committee or the Democrats. So even though it's a state case, he could only blah, blah, knowing he likes to bend the rules. Okay. So this is complete bullshit. And he says, if I can't lie anymore, if this is my last tweet, you know who silenced me. So, okay, I guess we went over all his tweet. The point is, trust your gut. All right. Believe. Maybe I need to quote Jay here. What do you say? Believe none of what you hear and half of what you see, even if it's said by me, right? Didn't Jay-Z say that? Yeah, Jay-Z said that, right? On ignorant shit. He says, and everything said in a song you happen to see, then actually believe half of what you see and none of what you hear, even if it's spat by me. Let's end that segment with that line. Okay. Thank you guys for being here. If you guys are new here, I hope you make an account. Please hit the subscribe button. Try to give, a mix of content here. We do a lot of bullshit, fun shit, laugh at stuff. We have a good time, and I hope you guys could stay on beyond today if you're new. Oh, I was reading donations, by the way. Thank you guys for the new memberships. Princess DI1, thank you for the 10, says, they're trying to say satire because it's people they love. I don't believe it. I don't care. He said, y'all believe the lies about Drake. Play stupid games. I'm happy to entertain. Lock Gazy up. I'm from the BK and sick of him since the 90s. Oh, wow. Princess don't rock with him. Sahil, thank you for the 5 Canadian. What's good? 14, thank you for the 5. So long story short, Jaguar Wright stole Vlad's phone. Not y'all. TS Car Wash Detail Service. He says, read the fan super chats, big dog. Take a few minutes out to read them. I'm reading them now. Princess also said, if this was Drake, would be on CNN. Now these motherfuckers want to say satire when Kendrick whole crew are PDFs. Never was Drake accused of only rumors that every girl debunked and defended him. Hypocrites. One Chills, thank you for the 10 or 5. He says, Vlad was being attention 3 or 4 like usual. Do you sell cat says, so Vlad knew all this and was still hating on Tory? The Sam ain't not says Jay-Z ain't paying people off for a D-list artist. Okay. Scott, he says, to the dummy who said Jay-Z not paying people off, you're a jackass. Tory was a threat to the industry. He also said Tory didn't testify because it was an open and shut case. He didn't realize that money talks behind the scenes to that extent. They had no evidence, and the bitch who shot him had immunity. Y'all dumb as fuck for real. I will say this. I think Tory was more than confident that this was going to go in his favor. Jazzo, 41, thank you for the 5. It says, yo, when this all comes out that Meg is a man. It said, when it all comes out, Meg is going to be, we're going to find out Meg's a man, a.k.a. a TS. What's TS? Is that transsexual? So I said, yeah, Vlad had a car wash detail services. Yeah, Vlad had his fried. In every interview, he'd be like, don't talking about this. And the next interview he'd be like, he don't like talking about this, but then you bring it up the next interview again. New Ground Vision, thank you for the 14 months. Thank you. He says, we in the building. Scott, thank you for the 5. It's the same dude saying he in jail, so he guilty. Be the same niggas complaining about how the justice system is unfair. And BLM, y'all corny and weird. Christopher, thank you for the 5. It says, you mad consistent, G. Thank you. Raised Entertainment 9848, thank you for the $1. And Bernice King Real, thank you for the 5. It says, Desiree own daughter sooner. And why would Vlad think he's smarter than Tory's dad and free the people? I do think it's an indictment that Desiree's own daughter is kind of echoing what everyone's saying about her. If your own daughter is saying it, like, Jesus Christ. Hudson Saint, thank you for the 5. It says, stuff like this has been going on since before the 60s. Have y'all never read the history books? Princess came back in and says, grown man worshiping Jay-Z. It's not above him to do this. What? Rain the Bow, thank you for the 13 months. It said, Big Ack is eating them up. Pause. Thank you, though, Rainbow. I love it here. Thank you to our chat queen. Rodney Tolbert, thank you for the 2. It says, the CEO of Rock Nation was a drug dealer. That is true. Desiree Perez was caught with drug dealing, and supposedly she flipped on the cartel. One of the few people who flipped on the cartel, lived to tell the story, and is now pretty much a multimillionaire. Rodney Tolbert, thank you for the 2. It says, he did an album with R. Kelly, too. They're talking about Jay-Z. Rainbow says, Big Ack, you're not wrong. We're on the right side of history. Chat queen for life. Chat, run up them likes. Thank you, ma'am. Mo Bowman, 260, thank you for the 5, says, why are all these creepy folks from New York? Jay-Z, Diddy, Weinstein, Epstein. Welcome to New York, Vlad. Check drop. Now he's joking. Bye, Felicia. Veracity Kid, 320 iffy, or 325, says, donate a few $100,000s or multimillionaires to a politician or a judge family member's nonprofit charity organization, and you could do anything in America. Vlad is being disingenuous about the game. Yeah, I remember somebody said, yo, there's this interesting saying that court cases won by powerful attorneys are not won in the courtroom, they're won on the golf course. Think about that one. You'll get ahead. What does that mean? Most DAs, most high-powered attorneys, and most judges outside of court, they're all friends. They're all on the golf course, and it's more than justice. It's about, hey, listen, I need this one. This client is paying me. This client is paying the mortgage. I need this. I need this one. Okay? Is it true? Look back in history. Motown Mo, thank you, brother. Sean Woods at 11:43, thank you for the 5. Said, let's go Knicks. Fuck the Celtics. Oh, he's in the basketball mood. Isn't it All-Star game right now? One Chill Ones, thank you for the membership. Also, Dead Runner, thank you for the membership. J Hamster, thank you, or J Ham Master, actually. He says this live about goes stupid viral. Kincaid, thank you. Money Mentality, thank you. Texas Batty, thank you for the 5. Says, the Dancer Project just put out a statement about the Kelsey interview they did. Did he? Danza Project. Does he have Twitter or something? Let me see. In a spirit of public confessions, I'll place this one on the record. Okay. In April 2024, I conducted the only interview with Kelsey Harris. Shortly after, I was apprehended for questioning. I was advised on what could be said publicly. I was urged to alter the presentation. The rollout was no longer mine alone. For weeks, I operated under guidance. Silence was encouraged. Adjustments were expected. No one owns my voice, but pressure is real, and pressure leaves fingerprints. I hope more people come forward to bring light to the truth. You see, in light of Vlad kind of flipping back around saying, hey, I was just joking. I was just trying to show y'all are idiots. Is Danza doing the same thing? Now, if you don't know what he's talking about, what he's talking about is well documented. The only interview, and by the way, I've approached Kelsey several times.
Right.
Trying to, get an interview or follow-up about this. I've said, hey, listen, they're saying you did it. They're slandering your name. You're going to speak up for yourself. She's really been, Now she has immunity.
Wait me. I'm completely okay with that. That's been pretty obvious.
Yeah, I've learned that people gonna hate you regardless. Like you can be doing. I think that's very important. I didn't want to take an interview or sit down with anybody until I was past that part, and
smart.
Yeah, and I had earlier this year I was like, you know what? I think this is the year that I want to open up more, let people into my life a little bit, and maybe hope this will help them understand me more. Maybe I'm related, maybe my story will help somebody else, So, and I think it's also a part of like the healing process. Mm-hmm. Maybe this will help.
And it absolutely will. You can't, when we listen to music, how many musicians do you hear that you're like, this music is absolutely terrible, right? but they still get 2.5 million listens a month because they are able to reach through to somebody.
Right.
There's always somebody that's going through the same thing you're going through.
Absolutely.
That's nature. You know what I mean? So there's so many people that, they'll sit there. There's so many people that'll sit there and troll you, but there's so many people that don't even have courage to type to you to tell you, hey, how did you do it?
Right.
You know, how did you still find a way to navigate through
all of it.
You know, and that's something that we'll get to. For now, I was thinking about how it.
Let's see if we could get her. She really said a lot of nothing, and it's interesting Danza is coming around to say this because I think one of the main things, we know he paid for the interview, right? Danza is someone, you know, not a cheap guy, and, you know, he got some bread. You know, he offers his guests, you know, compensation, and we would imagine that she did this for the money. But if I'm going to give you some money and I'm going to be this exclusive interview you're doing, like, hey, you're going to answer the operative question. Did you shoot? Did Tory do it? Like, tell us something.
Yeah.
The wild, like,
I would have thought she would have been like the center.
Nah, she was she was a party girl. You know what I'm saying? So I think it wasn't until 2018 where I really realized, like, he would have been like, how the F did you do that?
All that said, a lot of people in the media, they throw around the term best friend loose. I mean, not just in the media, everywhere. And for women, it's like,
I didn't even know about the hair part.
Really?
Until after everything. until after that night, and you start seeing people spin that picture in the media.
Obviously, there's so much that went on with that I would imagine that's very painful to talk about.
Yeah.
Betrayal.
Mm-hmm.
And is that where the friendship ended? Is that night how the friendship ended between you and Meg?
You know, what's crazy is it's still so unclear to me how we got here. Right. You know what I'm saying? Especially when you consider somebody your best friend. You call them your sister. You're with them every day. You know what I'm saying?
By the way, I want to consistently and frequently make this this announcement, because the reason why I'm calling an Epstein list type move of what Vlad did, that's why Rock Nation is not mad about it, is that I truly believe that they want to pigeonhole us to one thing. I do not want to keep talking about, hey, listen, we already had our questions. We've said it. We think what we think about Tory, but we got to speak about Rock Nation and Jay-Z and their actions across the culture. What they've been accused of doing to Nicki Minaj, what they've accused of doing to Bobby Shmurda, what they've been accused of doing to all these other people, including some of our favorites. We need to speak about it all, because this idea that, oh no, they're above doing certain stuff, that's complete bullshit. And I think that, you see, this is why I said Vlad's tweet is harmful, because we're sitting here and we're relitigating this Tory thing. We're like going back into it, like this Tory thing is beaten to death. Like, of course, we love Tory. We believe that, you know, there's a lot of reasonable doubt there. But the real thing to be discussed is that why the fuck is Jay-Z's name mentioned among Harvey Weinstein and Epstein? Why the hell is he hanging with Weinstein? Why the hell, when it comes to Rock Nation, certain things, we're seeing some Illuminati type of stuff happen? What's the deal? Who got the secrets? Who got those files? That's the files we need. That's why I don't like talking about this. It's not that I have a problem necessarily kind of going back over this and kind of like laboriously like it, but we need to figure out if there is a story, just like how when people were initially saying, hey, there's a bigger story than just this Jeffrey guy. There's some other motherfuckers. We want to know, who are these people that maybe either have protected Jay, maybe Jay protected them, maybe Jay get to leverage them. Maybe Rock Nation has got to leverage them. Rock Nation has gotten out the paint. Rock Nation has gotten in position. We want to see those files. That's what we want. So a popular tactic is, let's distract you. Oh, look at the economy. Look at this. That's what they do to Jeffrey Epstein. Look at, oh, no more files. You know what they're doing with this? What about this Tory thing? This Tory thing, cool. That's one of 5,000 other things. And that's why I think our time is being wasted. But it's okay. As long as the people who are being awoken don't just kind of go back and say, oh, okay, all right, nah. All right, we already got the answers. Just keep being inquisitive. Keep asking questions. And don't only ask him with me, because I'm asking him with you. Ask him of your favorite entertainer. Hey, Why the fuck we talking about Jay-Z's anniversary of Reasonable Doubt? Fuck the anniversary, nigga. Let's talk about this. Let's talk about the anniversary of him hanging with Weinstein. You know, he dropped Reasonable Doubt in 1996, and you do know this is 2006, which obviously would make it 30 years old. Congratulations to him. We'll give him some finger snaps, but let's talk about how long he been cool with Weinstein. That's what we want to know. That's what we want to know. I'm sorry to tell y'all. Okay? Yeah, they're gonna distract us with all type of stuff. All type of stuff. Oh, they got this coming up. This is the thing we should be focused on. Remember before Diddy got indicted? What did Diddy do? Hey, I think you guys should focus on me. I'm going to give all the artists back their masters. Huh? Philanthropic? I think we've seen enough by now. You had Melinda and Bill Gates say they're going to donate half their fortune to philanthropic efforts. Come to find out, it's because their name is in the fucking Epstein files. Come on, man. Stop playing. We hear Diddy says he giving back all his artists the masters after niggas threatened to throw a fridge on him over a damn off a fourth floor building. That's what the Locks did. They argued on camera. He would not give it back to them. All of a sudden, I'm down to give it back. He gets indicted. Watch out for the distraction. The Jay-Z distraction is coming soon. It's going to be the Trojan horse. It's going to be, hey, I know you've been thinking that me and Beyonce and the Carters and the Rock Nation are bad people, but look what we're doing for the culture. We're doing something good. The distraction is coming. Right now, we focused. But this is what I'm saying. Let's not focus fully on this Tory thing. Tory, we wish you love. We wish you health. We hope you come home soon. Hey, listen, you have already done the time. You've lost time off of your life. Whether you did do it or not do it, a lot of us believe that you were unfairly convicted. Whatever is the case, hold the faith, my brother. I know you have been. Come home soon. But the conversation ain't done there. The conversation ain't done till we get all the files. Don't stop asking questions till you get all the files. Oh, they want to stop. Well, so how old was Foxy? No, let's not talk about that. We're about to do the Rockefeller reunion. We don't want to hear about a Rockefeller reunion right now. Nope. No reunion. No brunch, no reunion. None of that. None of that. Nope. No distractions. No distractions. None. No renaissance, no nothing. Stay focused. None of that. Remember I told none of that. So how old was Aaliyah? No, Aaliyah, we about to have the Aaliyah. We don't want no tribute concert. Stay focused. Stay focused. We just gonna keep asking them questions. We don't care till we blue in the face. Because we're not getting the answers. And I'm gonna be honest with you, the lack of answers makes me think there's something. If put it like this, you know, with the Epstein files, when niggas was asking, they say, yo, here's all 6 million files. We ain't got nothing to hide. Here, take it all. Even if there was some shit, would probably be like, man, they gave it up too quick. Them niggas hit that shit for like 6-7 years, man. Now we know there's definitely something. What? Oh, nobody want to talk about it? Oh, there's definitely something. Nobody want to talk about Jay-Z? There's definitely something. If everyone's like, I bet, let's have the conversation right now. What's up? Once and for all, let's have it. Nobody want to do it. There's definitely something. There's definitely something. There's definitely something, man. They've done a million things for the last couple years to change the subject. I'm telling y'all now, when y'all ready, look, let me see. When was reasonable? I know y'all gonna have that day. June, it was June 25th, 1996. When it comes to June, I want to suggest, okay? This is my suggestion. Y'all don't gotta follow me. All of the paid shills, all of the people that's down with concealing, hiding, suppressing the conversation being had, they're going to use this as a day to celebrate, saying, here's the greatest rapper of all time. They're going to act like it's the anniversary of Jordan getting 6 rings or some dumb shit. We ain't having it. We need to basically say, this is going to be the anniversary of us figuring out what the fuck this nigga had going on. Facts. The only reasonable doubt we want to hear about is if there would be reasonable doubt for this shit to be in court. That's it. We don't want to hear about no album. None of that. The distractions is too much. And at this point, when you're having even people who, I get it, he's not that well informed, or I know something I think, oh no, Rock Nation must have sent him. I don't even think that. When you having people like Vlad playing our face, they're basically saying we're all stupid. Like we're the dummies. The people the most read, the most researched. We know these cases, or we know these situations back and front. They want to just say, oh, y'all are the idiots. Yup. We can't let them play in our faces too much longer. We can't. So June 25th, 1996, it'll be memorialized the 30-year anniversary, June 25th, 2026. I think we should make that anniversary of asking what the fuck this nigga done did for the last 30 years in relation to some of these questions we have. We're not just trying to blanketly accuse him. We're not saying he cheated on his math test. You know, he said he lost 92 bricks. We're not saying it was 2 bricks. No, we're not saying that. We're just saying we're hearing your name. We're hearing the company you got with too much fuck shit, and enough is enough. You can't keep spitting in the air, and when it falls in our face, you call it rain. Enough is enough. We need some type of answers, some type of accountability. We're not all stupid. You're pictured with these barely legal people. You ended up dating one of them. You supposedly had a crush and trying to kick it to the next one. We don't know what's going on. One of them you supposedly signed. We don't know what's going on. You're hanging out with a guy who's a creep. We see your name in over here. We see this like your artist is. We see too much. And I don't want to use, because people will think that I have a motive. I don't. But we've seen less on other people, and we believe more. Well, they called him a creep in the song. He must be. Fuck it. Fuck it. Fuck it. They called him a creep. Fuck it. Am I tripping? Someone in the chat, one of our misinformed people, it's okay. We love you too. He says, Act must be paid to redirect the attention from Epstein to Jay-Z. That person must haven't been here for the longest. I've said put all of them in a bowl and investigate them one by one transparently. We need all their client lists. We need to see who all of them were hanging out. We need to know when are all the times that he used to hang with Weinstein? When are all the times that Epstein used to hang with Trump? Elon, fuck with you. You know I rock with you. I own a lot of Tesla stock, but gang, you was trying to get on that island bad. You was trying. Nigga was curving you, man. This nigga went out here, man. His name is Elon, man. He ain't coming on here, man. Fuck out of here, man. Elon, the fuck. You know what I mean? Like, get out of here, man. Like, it was curving you. We need to know why. The why, and here's the thing. I'm not saying everybody guilty, because the why could probably help him. Maybe Elon was getting curved by Jeffrey Epstein because he wasn't a big enough perv. That's actually a good thing, right? Right? It might be like, oh, nah, he ain't a pervert like that. Nah, he not a creep. Don't bring him here. That's a good thing. If we find out that they didn't bring Elon, remember Elon was trying to get, like, Elon, let me know the best time to pop up at the island. They ain't never let that nigga know. We don't want you here, nigga. Maybe they were saying you ain't a predator or a big enough predator to make it to the island. That's a good thing. So through investigation, we might say, okay, at least we know he ain't a creep like them. That's all we can say. You get what I'm saying? It's one of those. If you in a gang and they inviting the killers to a meeting to go on a drill to slide for one of y'all dead mans, and you say, could I come to the meeting because I want to go? And they said, nah, they're curving you. Yeah, you're a gang member, but maybe you're just not a killer. We learned something. You're just not a killer. They know you're going to freeze up in a car. You're throwing up after the drill. They don't want that. They don't want it. Mm-mm. What can we take away from that? Hey, yeah, he's a gang member. Yeah, that was his niggas in them, but he just wasn't a killer. We need to know something. Can we know something? We asking questions and they looking at us like, why are these niggas asking questions? Yo, chat, have you realized they've now turned it into the people asking questions are not only the idiots, but the weird ones? Here's the next iteration of it. Why are they so obsessed with that type of shit? Bingo. Got him. When you start saying, again, this is not even an accusation. Just say, hey, was this odd? Again, the answer might be like, all right. And you know what the funny thing is? I know some people who love Jay-Z and whatever. We've never got an answer. It's not like we've gotten answers and we're just so stubborn that we're like, let's ask it again. No. Ain't nobody saying shit. Because I do understand that. Like, people have said things about me and I felt like I'm pretty transparent, so I've answered it. Here's my response. They ignore my response and say it again. Okay, all right, you're being annoying. All right, let me say it again. So I say it one more time on a bigger platform. And then the people don't like me. They're like, let's ignore that shit. Let's say it again. Those people are idiots. Okay? So really, pardon me if some of these things we have full-on answers for and we have full-on explanations and full-on exonerations when it comes to Jay. Like, okay, hey, if I haven't seen it, if I'm overlooking something, I apologize. You know, I'm trying to operate within. I want to have some integrity here that says you're not just dogpiling on somebody for whatever reason. Like, you actually do believe what you're saying. But most of this shit they don't want to talk about. Period. That's the funny thing. Anyway, let me listen to Kelsey a little bit more. And after this, what was I gonna play? Oh, I had something to play.
I would like to say no, the whole situation of her doing whatever behind my back, that is not why we fell out. It's so unclear to me why we fell out. I'm a type of person that likes to communicate things. Some people don't like to communicate.
It's a task for people, some people.
Right. But you would think when you have this, when you're close to this person and this person is supposed to be, you know, like your best friend, your family, your sister, that you would be able to talk about these things and, you know, agree to disagree. You don't even have to, if you know, people grow and everybody has a season. So if that was just the end of our season, I felt like we should.
She's saying a lot, but not saying nothing. Come on, cook up.
And it's
like, I'm sure everything kind of just.
It was fast. Yeah. Believe it or not, that was my last time ever seeing her.
Wow.
And it's crazy. How do you go through something like this with somebody, with your best friend, your sister, and you just push them out so easily? I don't know. I'm a different type of person.
Well, this is why I got to talk to Danza about his tweet. Well, I can tell you how you stop talking to someone if she believes you try to shoot her. Yeah, that's kind of how you stop talking to your best friend, right? You got in an argument, you beat your best friend up, and she grabbed a gun. Now, she's not definitively say what happened. Or, another way how you stop talking to your best friend, whether or not you did shoot her, you basically clearly didn't see that much of a problem because you're talking to the nigga who shot her, if that's what she claims. So that's the confusing thing with Kelsey. She's not saying, or I guess it's implied. I think maybe she might say, oh, I didn't shoot. I don't think she even really said anything. But if you're asking yourself, why would your best friend not want to talk to you afterwards? One of the things could be you shot her. Okay, let's say you're saying you didn't shoot her. Well, you fraternizing with the guy who, if it wasn't you, I would imagine it would be him who shot her. If you can't see both of them, you're either stupid or you think we're stupid. Or you're thinking she never got shot. She's just over here lying. I don't know which one it is.
I guess.
You really are. Because in front of the world, she went out and it's clear now, right, that she went out and lied in front of the world, said I was never with him and stuff like that. And you weren't the type of person that went out screaming to the media that said, yes, you were. You just stayed chill. You stayed yourself throughout all that.
Yeah, and it wasn't an easy thing to do because there were so many times I wanted to go off. clear my name, defend my name, you know, up against these lies. But they say like people who run to tell their story first, they do it because they're scared of like the truth, you know,
The
you
real,
telling your
real,
truth.
yeah.
So they got to paint this picture of you
Let that be the narrative.
and make people believe you're this bad person before you can do it to them. You know what I'm saying? My intention is never to like paint somebody as a bad person. But my story, unfortunately, has to reveal these people's character. You know what I'm saying? And I don't think they want that. You know, you don't want me to tell my side of the story because it's going to reveal like things about you that is just like not right. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So yeah.
So doesn't it bother you when, you know, I did see the clip where she's like, oh, you better speak up or you better say anything, you know, like.
Is that the one recently?
Yeah. It's like, you
There's
don't
so
want
many
me to
times.
speak up. But I feel that with the time that she did spend with you and she knows of you, she knows that you are the type of individual that you don't.
Exactly,
You know,
that
so
I don't
she
like
uses that to her advantage.
to her advantage.
She's a big girl. She's probably always looking down on people.
I totally agree with that. Not the big girl part. Not the big girl part. The part about, you know, she knows my true character. So she knows like, even though yes, if it comes down to it, whatever, I'm gonna handle my business.
Yeah.
I don't go out and seek drama. I'm not a confrontational person, but if it has to be that, then that's what it is. But I would prefer to not have to go there. You know what I'm saying? And these are things that, you know, she does know. You know, I'm not that type of person. I'm not fixing to get on the internet and do all that.
Now,
know?
again, I don't want to, I prefer not to get too into detail about those types of things. But
Come
I
on,
did
we
want
need
to
some
ask,
details.
is that night, the infamous night, the night that you actually found out about the betrayal?
It's crazy. Yeah, it is. It is. To my knowledge, shit. Other than that, like shit, she was 100.
Yeah.
To my knowledge. So yeah, it did end up coming out that night that she had been betraying me or whatever, and of course.
So she basically corroborates, yeah, you know, Meg was fucking my dude behind my back, whatever. Some same shit. She's not gonna say much.
Honestly, since that night, I've isolated myself completely.
Okay.
Has that affected your drinking too?
The drinking, I don't.
Because
That night
shit,
affected my drinking,
right?
and I say that because
Again, everybody was drunk except the driver and the person who didn't testify. Okay, I see someone. Thank you guys. You guys have a lot of I'm still getting through the donations here. You guys definitely sent a lot in, and I appreciate you guys. Okay, Texas Batty, thank you, and he says, speak on Desiree Perez. Are they been the doctors being paid by Desiree? So there's this idea that with Desiree, you know, she was, you know, yeah, there's just so much shit there where like people are, when Vlad just even says some shit, Vlad has no idea about this stuff. It's not like, that's what I'm saying. When I sit with him and I'm hitting him with facts after facts, all he's going to do is like, he's going to change the subject to, well, what I meant. Okay, fuck what you meant. I get it. You were joking around. But when you say these things only an idiot would believe, there's actual things behind it. So Desiree Perez, who's the CEO of Rock Nation, her daughter is Desiree Perez. Or actually, I think Desiree Hadley, I think. Just look up Desiree Hadley Baker Act. She actually claims that if you don't know what Baker Act is when it's this act that if people actually fear that you are a danger to yourself, they could, you know, have law enforcement take you and put you in a hold where they could, you know, evaluate you. And the daughter of Desiree Perez is claiming that, you know, she was Baker Acted, but it was orchestrated by her own mother because her own mother didn't approve of the guy she was dealing with, and basically how she, you know, she influenced all of the operating bodies, including the police and, you know, maybe even, you know, these medical facilities or whatever, in actually keeping her. And people usually even accuse that when they get put in a conservatorship. You know, obviously frequently, or not frequently, recently, we know what happened with what's her name? Wendy Williams. So it's a lot, right? It's a lot. And yeah, she got Baker acted. A deputy said, and it says, I can't drive with you. You could take me. It says you're gonna be in handcuffs and your dog's not gonna be able to come. And they actually, yeah. It says we received a call from your family. They're saying that her mom called, saying that she tried to overdose. Okay, and there was a doctor, chief of psychiatry at this hospital who runs a private practice who said, they say, I spoke to your mom and I spoke to your aunt. So the legal fight is, she says her own mother really set all this up and she used unlawful means to have her falsely detained under this act. And it says she's a CEO of Rock Nation, which is a company that she runs with Sean Carter, which is Jay-Z. This is her own daughter saying this shit. This is not like some random, I've never met none of these people in my life. But this is her own daughter saying this. Her own daughter is saying she used money, power, and influence to tear, her apart, her and her husband, right? And he created an enterprise of individuals to effectuate her plot, essentially try to separate me from her husband to falsely accuse him of domestic violence. So they were trying to basically saying, if she doesn't leave this guy, and they're saying that the dude beats her, this and third, she's not saying none of that. Says she's crazy. It said they Baker acted her. They said it was fearing she was at the risk of suicide and abusing prescription drugs. The attorney said they haven't seen nothing like this in 20 years. Okay, the attorney represented the daughter, saying that Perez had harassed the couple for years, including making unfounded claims to get the husband arrested on multiple occasions for battery and domestic violence. Prosecutors never pursued any of those charges. The state attorney wrote an 11-page scathing closeout memorandum, which basically said that her mother made false allegations to the police. So the state attorney's office basically said the mom, like after they basically try to pursue legal action, they said, well, it's on the mom. And we're not here to do whatever. We're here to just move off the mom or move off the family members. Prosecutor also wrote that she was wrongfully Baker acted last year, something that they dispute in a letter challenging that many of the memos. Okay. So there's a whole thing. And it kind of becomes a little bit like spooky when you're saying, wait, so her mom affected the police, the state attorney's office, and psychiatric centers to get her daughter like taken away because they didn't like the guy. So remember, Vlad is like, nobody would do such a thing. Her mom ain't like the guy she's with. They said that she's on drugs, suicidal, and that she's getting her ass beat. She's said none of the things are true. Her and her attorney dispute the doctor that supported it. In a lawsuit, they say that her doctor wrote a letter disputing need for treatment and hospitalization, a document that provided. Okay. This is some shit. This is some shit. Desiree Perez has claimed that she actually filed this thing because she was rooted in legitimate concern. The psychiatric facility said they can't talk about the case because of the pending lawsuit. And according to the BSO, the incident is now under internal review. So that's their own daughter, right? All right, Kelsey doesn't really say much here. I want to quickly, and I am going through all the donations here, by the way. Ubezerk, thank you for the 5. It says, a serial con man and gaslighting people. Who'd have thought? LOL, if there were the signs. Maybe he's talking about Jay-Z. Damn. Or maybe he's talking about Vlad. I don't know. Anyway, let's get to this really quickly. And again, I am going to read all your donations. Thank you guys if you've sent them. But in putting things in a context, because remember, if you believe any of this, you're crazy. So let's bring in other people that might be crazy. Remember I told you Colin Kaepernick's wife, Nessa Diab, we could look at her. Remember they said Nicki's crazy, right? Nessa Diab, Nicki Minaj. Let's look at this. Nessa supports Nicki Minaj's claim of foul play at Rock Nation. She claims they undermined Colin Kaepernick protests and said, hey, Nicki Minaj exploring the smear tactics by Jay-Z, Rock Nation, and Desiree Perez did to her behind the scenes is very similar to what I was told they did to her man, Kaepernick, when Jay purportedly co-opted Kaepernick's protest by siding with the NFL to help their image after they blackballed Colin for his protests. Okay. Interesting. Now, after this came out, there was a very interesting piece of evidence that came out to back her up. Because remember, everybody's crazy. There's nobody telling the truth. Everybody's crazy. Van Lathan. I want you guys to listen to this.
It was Nessa. And she was talking about Nicki Minaj's claims about a smear job that Jay-Z had against Colin Kaepernick. All right. I have to say this. I think the thing here, and I've told this story before, I think the thing here is the Jay-Z part of it. Obviously, that's the biggest deal. But when Nessa's talking right there, there's a part of me that feels bad about letting her be on her own with saying that.
As is the rest of the people who are in media, because it's easy to dismiss someone and call them crazy. It's the easiest thing. This person's crazy. Right? Because most of these people are speaking from their shared experience. They're speaking from, hey, I've went through this. Hey, I've seen this. And it's easy to say, you're seeing shit. You're in your mind. It didn't happen.
And this is the reality. This is what happens, at least in what happened, at least in this one instance, because I was there. I know for sure. I'm not saying it was Jay-Z. I can't say that Jay-Z did anything, right? But I know for sure, that Rock Nation was seeding negative stories about Colin Kaepernick during the time that he was really in traction with Jay-Z. For sure. I've told this story before. I'll tell it again. This is another story where I give Harvey a ton of credit, right?
Remember, everybody's crazy. Everybody's crazy.
Before. I think the thing here is the Jay-Z part of it. Obviously, that's the biggest deal. But when Nessa's talking right there, there's a part of me that feels bad about letting her be on her own with saying that. And this is the reality. This is what happens, at least in this one instance, because I was there. I know for sure. I'm not saying it was Jay-Z. I can't say that Jay-Z did anything, right? But I know for sure, that Rock Nation was seeding negative stories about Colin Kaepernick during the time that he was really in traction with Jay-Z.
No. Van, no. Jay would never do something like that. Why would he do that? You're cap. Let's hear.
For sure. I've told this story before. I'll tell it again. This is another story where I give Harvey a ton of credit, right? So I'm at my desk one time. This is after the Rock Nation NFL deal has been announced. And give Harvey more credit than just
Harvey Levin is the boss and the on-air personality at TMZ.
With how he played this. I'll give him credit for the fact that he goes, hey, I just got this information on the phone. I know who was on the other end of the phone. I know who Harvey's Rock Nation contact is, right? I just got this information.
Nah, it had to be like a random tip. Nah.
On the phone. And all of these things about Colin Kaepernick is what I just got told, right? He comes over to me and he tells me all of these things. And it was the whole Colin Kaepernick doesn't really want to play narrative. Like Colin Kaepernick didn't go to this training or he sabotaged himself this way or whatever. Actually, it was the same thing that people had started to hear on First Take. And it was a narrative that was getting around because either it was coming from what I thought at first is that either it was coming from players that had played with him or people that knew things. I don't know, but I had heard it before, right? And Harvey comes over to me and he says all of this stuff and he's like, yeah, did you know that he actually doesn't really want to play? And I looked at Harvey and I said, look, I don't think that we here at TMZ should be getting in the middle of what's going on between Colin Kaepernick and Jay-Z. I think if we run what essentially was a hit piece on Colin Kaepernick.
A hit piece that he's admitting that Rock Nation called in, seemingly, to Harvey Levin to spread the propaganda because Jay-Z just got a deal and they wanted to make the sheeple, okay with moving on to what Jay-Z had in store.
Nick, I don't think we have the cultural cachet to do that. Number one, to insert ourselves into the middle of that situation. And also, I think it's choosing a side in something that is literally at the core of a black cultural discussion right now. I don't think we should do it. And he listened. He listened.
And you didn't do it.
He did not do it. He listened. He goes, okay, that makes a lot of sense. He listened. I'm like, I don't think we should do that. Like, he listened, right? He went and got back on the phone. And when he came back, there was a different story. And the story that ended up making it to TMZ was that Jay-Z somehow had the inside track on becoming an NFL owner because of his relationship with the NFL. And that ended up being the story. You guys could probably Google that story. I'm sure it's still on the site, that Jay-Z was going to become an NFL owner. And the reason why that story went up is because it was still a story that kind of explained why he had decided to take the deal with the NFL. It was a story that made it make sense to people. Like, oh my God, maybe Jay-Z, as the owner of a team, can then put Colin on a team, or maybe move it.
That was the intended purpose. So after they tried to bury Colin, and TMZ and Shout to Van, they said, we don't feel comfortable with you feeding us this negative story, which I got to say, TMZ, way to have the morals there. You know, I'm pretty sure Lamar Odom would probably be like, what about me? Did anybody call y'all saying I was on crack? Because y'all ran a lot of those stories. Reportedly, they said the Kardashian always had the bat signal or bat line or the bat phone to TMZ. But, yeah, so they didn't run the story on Colin, but they ran it supporting Jay-Z, but giving a reason, basically saying he's not scum. Hey, he's going to own a team, and if he owns a team, he could put Colin Kaepernick on the team.
Moving on from the kneeling situation is worth it because we're going to get a black owner in the NFL.
Or just have some influence towards black culture, people within the NFL. I get it.
Right. Because a lot of people were asking the question, like, why he did this. Because it didn't seem like it was a deal. And they were pitting Colin Kaepernick.
Again, for the people who say this is just crazy talk, hold on. We're going to find it on TMZ. Jay-Z to become part owner, NFL team, TMZ. This is a story that got ran. This is TMZ.com. Jay-Z had multiple reasons of becoming part of the NFL family, TMZ Sports has learned. One of them is that he's going to become part owner of an NFL team. And it's going to happen soon. Sources connected to Jay. Come on, Rock Nation. With direct knowledge tells us Jay's going to have a significant ownership interest in the NFL team. As for which team, we're not being told. But we are being told it's going to happen in the near future. Yes. Oh, yeah. We're told Jay wants to become a part owner because the huge fan already has a sports business and wants to be a change agent for the NFL. This is a part you could assume. He wants to be a change agent. So he wants to change the culture. Look at this infamous video. The person that we keep talking about, Desiree Perez, is here. Jay-Z's here. Roger Goodell's here. Jay-Z has experience with team ownership. He has actually a minority stake in the Brooklyn Nets. He sold that stake in 2013. This became the story instead of a overly hit piece that was meant for Colin Kaepernick that was called in by Rock Nation.
Against Jay-Z. Full disclosure, I know Colin Kaepernick and Nessa. I do not know Jay-Z or any of the higher-ups at Rock Nation. Right. So I can't say what Jay-Z was having somebody do. But the fact that they were people from Rock Nation that were trying to put negative stories about Colin Kaepernick into the ether is true. Now, that is two things. One, so much more common than people would think that it is, right? So much more common in media than people would think that it is. Okay. That happens all the time. Essentially, the reason why I would tell celebrities all the time is like make friends with somebody at TMZ, have somebody in the office, is for two things. Number one, so you can get a story and
okay, we all know how the media works. All right. Day W, he says, you drag topics for so long, man. Get a live mod, please. Hey, this was important. This was a big topic. It went viral. We got to really flush it out. This is where people come for in-depth conversation. You know, I've long since graduated from the come here for 5 minutes of discussion and you got the gist of the topic. We're going to get into the weeds. I like to think that if you watch this live stream, you're the most entertained and most informative. And those two combined make you very powerful. People have a natural dislike for Beyonce and Jay-Z. Will believe anything and not read nothing. That's TLO3 Riz. Antoine Brook, thank you for the dollar. You didn't say anything. Kendrick Intern says, you finally seen what Dot was talking about on Watch the Party Die. It's deeper than Drake. Are you trying to say Kendrick was talking about Jay-Z? Antoine Brooks, thank you for the 2. It says, Jay-Z's not on the list. Shaking my head. It's misleading. What list are you talking about? I don't think you guys are realizing that the list, there's a metaphorical list, and it's the people who were his associates who probably helped the bidding or were accused of doing some of the same shit with him. There's not a list like the nigga didn't write a list. You know what I'm saying? Somebody else says Kendrick is trash. Anything but a norm. Thank you for the 10. I appreciate you didn't have a message with that. Duality 742 says, who protested in the streets at a Super Bowl between the Jay-Z partnership? It's bullshit. Now, what you're not realizing is this. So remember, it's 2014. That's when the letter was sent out, right? This letter is sent out. It says, look, 2014, why we're not in Sao Paulo, keep in mind, this is 2-3, okay? What happens is the World Cup is in Sao Paulo, right? What happens in 2014 Super Bowl is at MetLife Stadium. The Seahawks defeated the favorite Broncos, and this goes down in MetLife, okay? So when you look at it, this is the MetLife Stadium. It's the football game that goes down in MetLife Stadium. If you don't know, the New York Giants play at MetLife. Again, it went down pretty much without a hitch. They're saying because when the Super Bowl comes to a city, and if you guys don't know how Super Bowl works, there are packages that are presented. That it's kind of like the World Cup in a way where, you know, these cities kind of bid for it in a way, but they are selected. And it's all about what the biggest game is going to bring to the entire, you know, surrounding areas. So they know there's going to be a shit ton of events. The NFL is going to be sponsoring these events. It could be the celebrity, the Pro Bowl, the this, the that, the flag football game, whatever the case is. And essentially, you know, they're pointing out, that's what the guy was pointing out. When the biggest game comes to Sao Paulo, their social issues that they're having, their social strife, turns into embarrassment. They're protesting and fighting in the streets. Well, no one is protesting and fighting in the streets when it comes to New York. Why? Because Jay-Z. We have Jay-Z. He is the guy. Jay-Z will make sure niggas ain't nigga-ing. That's the point. Okay? Duality, thank you for the 5 again. It says FBI investigated for decades, took 180,000 footage, but didn't save one child. They didn't take the pictures themselves. They confiscated them, yeah. Somebody says, Bernice says, go to 36 hours later. We did do that. Appreciate you. Africa Bambata. Whoa, that's your name? 69. It says, Hassan Campbell was my girlfriend. Wow, pause. I'm not too sure if that's the actual guy or what. Don Draper, 9673, thank you for the 10. Says, what was the point of Vlad's tweet? Well, according to him, he was trying to rage bait and also engagement farm. Mamouche, thank you for the 2. He says, are you going to Alka show? Come on now. You know I'm in there. You know that. Katrina, thank you. Thank you for the membership. And by the way, he's talking about Alkaline, a guy who would play a lot. All good, all good. Somebody said, keep dropping 40. Thank you for the 10, by the way, on this fucking Jay-Z thing. This is the only tether we're jacking. Oh, man, it's an FBA. They're rocking with me. Okay. Africa Bambata is going crazy on here. What's up with this guy? Peter Stone says, it's so clear you only care about this dude to your ties with Tory and Drake. You sound like a crazy barb. Yet you're quiet on Trump documents every day. Trump isn't a hip-hop person. I primarily cover hip-hop, sir. And I've also said because of Trump's inclusion in the Epstein files that he should be investigated. I've said it about everybody. Again, you might think it's about Tory and Drake, But that's why I said those are the people who are going to try to make it personal. No, I think there's enough questions that we're not getting answered. And if you point me someone else that has as many questions, I don't care who, and even if it was Drake, I would ask the same questions. I know you don't think I would, but I actually would. The point is, it's not, no one wants to talk about it. Like, Drake got called a pedophile, everybody talked about it. We actually listened, and it felt like there was people saying, if you're a woman who got done dirty by Drake, file a lawsuit. We didn't see one. Not one. Let's be very clear. So when it comes to Jay-Z, and we keep hearing allegations, rumors, we're seeing things that doesn't look right, doesn't pass the eye test, I think it's natural that we ask questions. And if you think that I'm only doing this because it's Jay because of these other people, name me another person that I should look into, and I'll do the same. If there's someone, again, I ain't gonna lie to you, partially I felt like I did say it though. I always said like, hey, I've heard some stuff. Did I ever say Diddy's name before? Like, I always said that, there's somebody in the industry, I heard that everybody, they tell me stories behind the scenes, no one is down to talk about it in front of the scenes. And if I didn't say that, I guess I apologize, but I was always hearing shit about Diddy. And I always alluded to it, but I never said it because I guess you could call me scared at that point. But no one was down to talk about it. Now, granted, do I stand by that he was not convicted of sex trafficking? Yeah, I do. Yeah, he was a nigga who liked to do weird sexual shit, and he beat and manipulate women. Yeah. Anyway. Okay, Borough City Kid, 320 says, if Ak was serious, he'd go down the rabbit hole of the Jay-Z and Brooklyn Nets situation. See who exposed Jay-Z for selling out Brooklyn for less than 1% and why. It involved Russian oligarchs, CIA, and the Mossad. Jay was a R straight? A R, what's that? I mean, I'll look into it. Again, I also don't want to make it seem like I'm on this witch hunt for Jay-Z. That's not the case. As I said, serve me up somebody a little bit more that has this amount of profound, invisible hand effect, and I'll look into that too. Okay. Night of Shambhala says, it's a pleasure. You're blessed in this life and the next. Appreciate the research and how you take responsibility on the mic. Thank you. So we're always here for you. Thank you. Okay. There was a $50 donation somewhere. Did I get to it? I got to make sure I acknowledge everybody who did donate. I appreciate all you guys. Thank you. Thank you. Okay. And user, I did see you. Okay, cool. I'm going to also get to the donations on the Academy, but we're not going to slow up the show. And I guess, we have spent about 6 hours on this. And I apologize. I know I missed yesterday, but this definitely needed all the intense dedication towards what the hell is going on. Okay? Appreciate you. Gio says, could you hire Timestamp 999? He's amazing. Is he the person who does timestamps on the Academy? For the people who do watch on the Academy, the VODs that are up, I think someone does an amazing job at timestamps. Okay, hey, I'm going to reach out to him. Let's see if me and him could have a conversation, right? Somebody said, I ain't spent 10 minutes on Elon or Trump. Well, if y'all care, I swear, if y'all care that much, the thing is, when I go off into hip-hop, I try to come back real quick because I want to lose y'all, honestly. So just for the people who will be like, yo, why don't you do the same thing with Trump? If y'all want me to go down a Trump rabbit hole, and I promise y'all, we could, I don't know how we could do this in an overwhelming way. If we have a poll, if it's, I don't know if it's a donation amount, I don't care what it is, I will dedicate a whole stream to Trump. What do you think that is like, there's protected people? What the fuck? We'll go down the rabbit, but the thing is, I got to make sure y'all going to be tuned in, all right? Like, if I start talking about Trump and sometimes when I'm talking about business, I feel like I'm halfway losing you guys because you guys want to talk about Christian Rock and dumb shit. Like, y'all niggas want to talk about NBA Youngboy and 15 Baby Mamas. I get it. And it's cool. Like, I like talking about that too. That's one of my favorite things to talk about. I like to talk about these scallywags and hoes. So again, I never want to lose you guys because, These days I've been trying to get into a little bit more business stuff with y'all, kind of educate you a lot more. I'm not trying to make this like, this ain't CNN. But if that's what y'all want, for the people who think that I'm ducking those conversations, we could create a metric and we'll spend an entire goddamn, the thing is, when I talk about Jay-Z, I know it's still within culture. When I talk about Trump, I'm now doing a politics broadcast. And I know some of you guys didn't come for that. But if you guys want that, I will give 7 hours to Trump. I don't give a damn. So again, for me, when I look up, like today was a big day for us, clearly, because people cared about this topic. So I'm going to talk about it. But if y'all are saying, if you say tomorrow's stream going to be about Trump and you finna go through all of this shit and figure it out, and we could go find all the agreements that have came out afterwards with him and whatever escort, we don't give a damn. We'll get into all of his files and whatever, the mass opinion of him is what it is. The dude's the president already. Who gives a damn? You know what I mean? Like, why would I need to protect him? Fuck. Look at Pam Bondi. So if you guys want politics, I will. If you guys want me to talk about Elon, I'll talk about him too. So it's just how much I don't want to drown y'all in it. But I'm down if the audience so calls it, right? Or, I don't know if you just want me to do a segment where maybe I, do a regular stream and then go and kick for like 3 hours and break it down. That's kind of how I came up with the war in Chirac, right? Like there was like this part of this audience was like, no, we want just this. And I'm like, you realize if I talk about Trump, I'm not a political commentator. They're going to leave. Like, y'all are going to leave. Half of y'all be like, yo, bro, you're not talking about J. Cole? I'm out of here. Bro, no news on Drake? I'm out of here. Dog, what about that Cardi snippet? No? All right, I'm out of here too. That's what's going to happen. I'm talking about the things that it's majority rules. Y'all rule this chat. So if y'all vote a topic, I'm going to have to talk about it. And if y'all say, I'm going to talk about it the whole time, I will talk about it the whole time. It doesn't matter. We will go down a rabbit hole of whatever. All right, we're kind of trying to spin out of this. Daily Ask Reddit, thank you for the 10. It says, you keep asking all these questions, but you haven't given us a real theory. Can you tell us simply what you think is going on with Jay-Z? I'm asking questions because I think it would be irresponsible of me to make really any wild accusation. I can sum up what I reasonably feel and believe is happening. I feel like Jay-Z in the late 2000s and early 2010 transitioned from being a rapper to a mogul to, and this is the difference. I think Diddy was a mogul. I think Jay-Z has transcended that, and I don't know what to call it, but his actions affect not only the music business, not only culture, but it affects politics, it affects businesses, banks, it affects Fortune 500 companies, and Jay-Z, unlike Diddy, because I think once Diddy start getting to the 9 figures, right? Once he started getting 9 figures, 100 million and up, I think Diddy was very comfortable with, okay, I just want to fuck these hoes. I think Jay, he's in a much more important and a much more powerful position where I think potentially not only could he affect elections, not only could he affect, where billions of dollars are being invested, whether, it's a casino in Times Square or whether they're building an arena in. I think when we think about what power looks like, Jay is the ultimate. Okay? Diddy was a nigga with a lot of money trying to get his freak off. He was trying to get his dick sucked. Or maybe he was trying to suck a dick. We don't know what he was doing. But the Diddy files basically came out. Well, it's probably not all of them, but we got a good look into what his life was. Diddy wasn't really like... going into that, we thought that maybe politicians he had. That was the thought. Yo, he probably had politicians at the freak-offs. Bro, it's probably him and Ja Rule and like 5 hoes and like 2 prostitutes. Like, we don't know what's going on. But it was clearly not what we thought. Like, we haven't really heard credible evidence about really powerful. I stand to be corrected. We haven't heard powerful things about the people he was rubbing shoulders with. We did see him rub shoulders with them, But we get to realize he was just a freak boy. The thing with Jay-Z that's very different is that Jay-Z is the heart and soul of some of these motherfuckers advancing. Jack Dorsey, his association with Weinstein, Roger Goodell. This idea of too big to fail, the thought of Diddy was that once he cut ties with Diageo, he was persona non grata, which means off with him, like fuck him. So whoever was protecting him from getting indicted, like again, the idea of like this Epstein thing where you're dealing with people that are so powerful, it's the reason why you get these secret deals. It's the reason why you get protected. It's the reason why even after death, they won't release the files about what the fuck you did. That's not the case with Diddy. It was like Diddy was just some freak nigga. Like all the fucking prostitutes are doing interviews. It's clear with Jay. Jay got that type of ilk. And that's why I was kind of like baffled when Vlad was saying that, because I'm like, Jay's the only person within this culture I feel like would be tapping into things that some of these billionaires. Obviously, he's not like one of those, he's not Peter Thiel, but like, shit, he's the black guy who's friends with Jack Dorsey. He's the black guy who's needed for the NFL. That's connected to 30 other billionaires. Like he's the guy. He's the guy. So when you kind of see him there and he's still trying to move up, whether politically, whether it's Rock Nation and even their association with what's it called again? All the stuff they're doing for criminal justice, you kind of start to realize they've honed a lot of power. Anyway, let me not spend all the time. So I said, I'm trying to find out why Charleston White was choking someone. Yeah, that was an interesting clip. We're gonna play it in a second. How we do it says, they were planning to sell. Tory was planning to sell straight to consumer while being the biggest in the world, breaking IG Live records during the pandemic. Biggest threat to the labels. So Jay had to end that. It was never about Meg. Okay. All right. Somebody said, notice all the shakedowns on all the famous black billionaires. Lil Breezy, I would actually say it's the opposite. I think we've seen more white billionaires exposed recently than the black ones. Right? We ain't hear shit on Oprah. Like the only two we've heard, it was supposedly, well, Forbes hasn't listed Jay as a billionaire yet. But yeah, we've heard about Jay, and then we heard that Tyler Perry was trying to fuck some dude on his movie set. That's it. Like, what other black billionaire is getting taken out? Now, we've heard about every white billionaire. You know what I mean? So when I said, when you talk about Israel, I want you to remember this conversation. I'll keep that in mind. So when I said, Tory will not make parole unless he admits guilt. I think he's going to make parole. Actually, when you look him up on the California inmate correctional site, you look him up here, you're going to notice, okay, come on, Jesus Christ, this shit's slow as hell. Close, agree, last name Peterson, Daystar. He's right here. He's California Men's Colony. And you look here, he got admitted August 29, 2023. And his parole eligibility date is August 29. And he's supposed to make that parole, if from what I've heard. He got sentenced to 10 years. If he doesn't make parole, then I think you could go back every year in front of the board or every 2 years. I can't remember. Then he would be looking to maybe spend until 2023. But I think they did give some time serve. I can't remember when, but he's expected 2029. Okay. All right. Ezekiel says, you missed stream again. I need that fade. Oh, yeah, I did miss 3 days. So we're 3 days out. So I'm 12 out of 15. That's not good. It's a scuffed month. I need a month where, like, first of all, we still got to do our official 30. I think we're going to do it yearly now. We got to do our official 30 for 30. But we need to practice 30 for 30 first, right? This was supposed to be the practice one, and I've missed 3 days. This is bad. Parker Coates says, shout out to Jay, was actually selling snow or white in New York back then. Okay. So I said, Rock Nation's been dealing with LAPD. Don't forget the Yo Gotti Young Dolph shooting in LA. At the time, Yo Gotti was signed to Rock Nation. No charges for Gotti then. Somebody says, Before you get off stream, you got to address what Lil Russell said about you and blog pages and what he said about Lil Wayne. I'll talk about this next. Someone says, I'm paying attention. Vlad's trying to shift minds. Why? Well, we've seen that. Someone says, shout out to you, You're crushing the new year. 30 for 30. I will be doing it again. Thank you. Someone says, yo, Parker Cole, thank you again. JFK, shout out to you. Chuck Joke, shout out to you. Bougie Buddhist, thank you for the attendance. Zach, we hear you have to possess a certain level of intelligence to hear what you're feeding the people. Thank you for your integrity. Rock Nation will crumble. Someone said, yo, you're spin facts. You're not crazy. There will be more people like you not scared. Somebody said there's 3 million documents to be released. Yes, there's still 3 more million left. Somebody said Vlad isn't Rock Nation. No, Trump is all over the files. Okay. Ruger Red, thank you for the gifted sub. Culture Cut Cliff says, what is the common denominator in all these situations, Ak? I think power. You know, like Vlad tried to compare me and him. Yeah, I'm pretty open with it. Like, yo, if I don't like Lil Baby, like, what the fuck? I'm not gonna interview him or whatever. Like, what the fuck does that matter, right? Like, you know what I mean? Like the people we're talking about, if they don't like you and you're doing some crazy shit, they could probably potentially put you in jail. That's different. So Vlad's compromise, no cap. Someone said, bro, these guys are weird. They say anything for shock value. Yeah, it was a little. Yeah, Vlad basically said he said it for shock. Hitmaker Media said Vlad checks cleared after this post. Trust me. Somebody said Jay-Z and Rock Nation is Axe Israel, Mossad, and Epstein. Not necessarily. I don't get on every day talking about Jay-Z and Rock Nation. I got on today because it's trending, and I needed to position this conversation as it needs to be. If you think that Jay and Rock Nation are up to some unscrupulous things, or you think that Tory is innocent, you're not crazy. Don't let Vlad, don't let the people who are now pushing it, they're going to run a narrative to say, you're stupid if you believe this. No, you're not. The full conversation is a mix of everything, and we're not going on any particular accusation. What we're really going on is that there's a pattern. As I said with AI, it's a pattern, and we could make a legitimate inference that something ain't right here. That's all we're going on right now, and we have a lot of questions to ask. Okay, King 1282 James, thank you for the 5. Said Broward County check-in. What up with you? Somebody said snitching officer Vlad. Somebody says you got to make sure I get a meet and greet. Find a way, please. Ariel Jenkins has been one of the supporters for a long time from Florida. Hey, you didn't get a meet and greet? Email me or DM me. Because I know you're from Florida. I know you wanted to come to the show. Culture Cut Clips, thank you for the 5. It says Vlad is Mossad, and if he actually took money to defend Meg, he has no credibility. Somebody said Lil Russell tried to name drop you when he was getting cooked on Twitter for saying he has disdain for Wayne. Did he? Somebody said, what happened to the Hard Thoughts movement? Okay, good. All right, great. So we got through all the donations. Perfect. Let me go on to this Lil Russell thing. So, chat, there's been internet chatter from this rapper. His name is Lil Russell. I haven't paid too much attention to this recently, but apparently he did an interview. And in the interview, he has, he said something about Lil Wayne that people did not appreciate. I want to kind of play what he said. And then I want to talk about the firestorm that happened afterwards and him trying to clean it up. So here's the clip supposedly in question. Let's play it. This is the one that went viral. I understand he supposedly tweeted out a longer clip for context, but let me play initially what went viral.
Yeah,
I gotta respect
he had a conviction.
I
had a moment in my journey where I had grew a disdain for Wayne just because
So Young Thug's kid, man, I don't know his name, so I'm not even gonna try and say it or anything. But what X said about Young Thug and rappers about being parents and stuff, he's 100% right, bro. Like, a lot of these men, they don't believe in condoms. They don't believe in playing out. And, they get a bunch of money, bro. You're gonna have the finest of the finest woman, bro. So every attractive woman they're with, they just put babies in them. And the women want the kids because they think they're gonna get money from it, or they think they're in love with them because of their status. So, or both. You feel me? So they're gonna get pregnant by these men, and these men, you feel me, they don't necessarily want them or the kid. They just want to get them pregnant and then dip. And then they feel a type of way, you feel me, creating broken homes. The women probably make the kids hate the father. The kids, you feel me? Bro. Hey, man, our favorite rappers, the Futures, Future probably created so many broken homes. Like they all like that's the rapper start package, bro. Street rapper start package. Have like 5 to 10 plus kids by 5 to 10 different women. Like, bro, that is not a happy life. Okay, you're lit right now, bro, but okay, imagine when you fall completely off. Like, it's sad to say, bro, everyone falls off, bro. Like, everyone falls off. It's sad to say it, bro. Not everyone is a Beyonce and all that stuff, bro. You're gonna fall off, bro. Like, so when everyone completely falls off, gang, what are you gonna do? You're not really gonna have much. It's your family. You were never there for them. Feel me? The money's probably drying up. You don't really care about them. Unless you just settle down and you pick one of your favorite family, or you just start a whole new family, then it's just a bunch of other broken families, bro. But it's your boy Big Act News. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe, and let me know how you guys feel about everything. I'm out.